Hare Krishna. So we will start the session by paying our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who is founder Acharya of ISKCON. We will seek blessings from our Guru Maharaj. So we are on our journey onto the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is titled as Dhyan Yoga. This chapter has total of 47 verses, and so far we have covered the first 32 verses. Today, Krishna willing, we'll try to cover the rest of the verses of this chapter, that is from 33rd to 47th verses. And this covers three topics, like what is the necessity of controlling the mind, then destination of an unsuccessful yogi, and thereafter in the final two verses Krishna highlights that of all the paths, the yogi is the topmost yogi, the transcendentalist, and of all the yogis it's Bhakt who is the topmost, and we have already covered that in our yoga ladder discussion, right? So today it will be reiterated. So now, so far we have seen Krishna highlighting the importance, right, of Nishkam Karma. He says that if you are doing Nishkam Karma, that includes both the things. That includes detachment and also renunciation, right? It includes yoga and sannyas, both the things, because you're in connection with God and also you're detached from the fruits. So that involves both the things. And then Arjun sort of asked a question that for how long you need to work, and then Krishna highlights that as long as you have not attained the stage of dhyana, you should continue to perform nishkam karma, right? And so Krishna thereafter shares the basic details about Ashtanga Yoga. So we understood very nicely that Ashtanga Yoga is not about asanas or pranayam independently, right? These are just two stages. They are not yoga in itself, right? So that starts with all the rules and regulations, the do's and don'ts, yam niyam, right? And thereafter, it's not just physical exercise or breathing exercises, bodily postures, but also you have to meditate, right? And meditate on whom? Meditate on Paramatma, right? So that is the primary goal of Ashtanga Yoga. And we also saw that how in various verses, in verse number 14, 15, and thereafter in 31 and 32, Krishna specifically highlights that it is all about focusing on me, Mam. So it is, first thing we have to be clear that it is not that you are focusing on uh, some light or something, right? That's not the case. Second thing, it is Ashtanga Yoga is not about asana pranayama. It's actually meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, right? So now Arjuna heard Krishna very patiently. Krishna talked about, you have to go to forest, you have to do this. Does someone remember what all you have to do?
Yeah, I think they have to go to a secluded place and then stay alone, practice celibacy, and then they have to put that kusa grass, and then control the mind carefully, and keep. I mean, there are all the practices how one has to perform Ashtanga yoga.
And also one has to focus his mind on tip of the nose.
Get the concentration.
Free from all desires and possessiveness.
And then I think once you concentrate upon me and controlling the mind, you will attain my abode. That's number 15. Krishna has said that.
And does anyone know a characteristic of people in Kali Yuga?
Characteristic of people in nobody practices celibacy.
Yeah, and what more?
They use, I think the yoga is actually
these are described. Yeah, sorry. So basically, we have not systematically studied those because they are part of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Naimisharan sages, headed by Sonak Rishi, they will describe that how the people of Kali Yuga, they are short-lived, they are mandamati, they are always restless, quarrelsome, right? The age of Kali Yuga is characterized by quarrel and hypocrisy. Now, if you ask someone in Kali Yuga to go to forest and do all these things, will it be possible?
No.
What the prerequisite laid by Krishna to perform Ashtanga Yoga? So Arjuna thought, Krishna, this is good, but I think so. In match the following, there is something going wrong here. Why? Maybe the yoga which you are just describing, is this applicable for Kali Yuga which is just about to start, or even for the yoga where I am there? Krate adhyayato Vishnu Tretayam yajato makhe Dwapare Paricharyayam Kalo Tadhari Kirtana. So primarily meditation was in which yoga? Satya Yoga. This is not something which is practiced in Dwapar Yoga or which will be practiced in Kali Yoga more so, right? So now these are the points which Arjuna will put forward in front of Krishna, right? So let's see. So now, Harshad Prabhu, will you recite this verse? As last time, we will go alphabetically. Huh?
Okay. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya proktaha sammena madhusudana yatasyaham na pashyami chanchalatva sthitim sthiram. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady.
So here Arjuna is, not saying that I am not in agreement, but he's putting forward his understanding. What is he saying? The yoga, yoyam yogas tva prokta, the yoga which you have just talked about, samyena madhusudana. Madhusudan, Arjun will primarily talk about, call Krishna as Madhusudan whenever he has any doubt which he wants. Like the way you killed demon Madhu, you please kill my doubt. Because actually, as per what I see, this seems to be little difficult to follow, seems to be impractical, and we cannot do it for long. Why? because the mind is restless and unsteady. So now, why did Arjun say this? Because you see this Yogi Baba. Now, if you don't get one meal on time, huh? One meal on time, maybe half an hour, 1 hour delay, then then we will come to know how restless is the mind. Hmm? And Krishna has talked about many things which are good to hear but difficult, or what Arjun is saying, impractical. Why? Because the mind is little difficult to control, a little difficult or very difficult, that we will discuss in subsequent verse. Even Arjuna will glorify the qualities of mind. Now, okay, Harshita Mataji will read this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashtanga yoga is impractical. It is not possible for an ordinary man to leave home and go to a secluded place in the mountains or jungles to practice yoga in this age of Kali. The present age is characterized by a bitter struggle for a life of short duration. People are not serious about self realization even by simple practical means, and what to speak of this difficult yoga system, which regulates the mode of living, the manner of sitting, selection of place, and detachment of the mind from material engagements. As a practical man, Arjuna thought it was impossible to follow the system of yoga, even though he was favorably endowed in many ways.
Thank you very much. So let's try to understand what Prabhupada is saying. So, for ordinary man, it is not possible to leave home and to go to a secluded place in mountains or jungles to practice yoga. Now, a practical realization of this is when we started this morning chanting, you know how we started? Does anyone remember? Morning chanting, we started. How did we start? Anyone remember that? I told that you all can come to my place from 4:30 to 7 o'clock. The doors will be open, so you can come. So almost 1 month it went on, but not even an end came. So what to talk about? People they don't want to leave their home to come to a place where we can all chant together. So what to leave home to go to a secluded place in mountains or jungles? Huh? This is a practical realization we should have. Sometimes we question, Arey, why is Arjun asking? I can go, I can easily go. Okay. So then we opened some virtual platform, Zoom. So now people are at least joining, whenever they are free, right? So we have to modify things as per
Yoga Dharma,
time, place, and circumstances.
Yeah.
Hai na? So that is important. So this is a good example. We know it may be good, but not practically possible. So that is what Prabhupada is saying. The present age is characterized by bitter struggle for a life of short duration. Now, why short duration? In Satyuga, what was the lifespan?
It is
100,000.
4x times. 4x
Very
times.
nice. 100,000, right? What we call in India is 1 lakh, right? And in Treta, it is
10,000.
10,000. Our Dwapar,
Thousands with less than 1,000.
right? And here it is 100, right? So basically, now you see, we are in the starting of Kali Yuga, but towards the end, it will be like 20 years. Height will be very small. We will see all these glorification of Kali Yuga in Bhagavatam, right? So that is why Prabhupada is saying short duration. Short duration, undoubtedly, in comparison to a yogi, which is supposed to do this meditation for thousands of years in Satyuga. How can you become a yogi when you do it for maybe few years, right? Not practical for general mass, right? People are not serious about self realization. People are not serious, we know that, right? Even by simple practical means. What do you mean by simple practical means? You ask them, okay, take prasad, chant. Arey, it is very difficult, Baba. All these things you are saying, yeah, I will do later on. This is not my age to do. Even simple things people cannot do. Practical things, Okay, read Bhagavad Gita. Arey, I cannot understand anything in Bhagavad Gita. You ask me to go to one movie, I can easily go. Don't ask me to read Bhagavad Gita, right? So people are not serious about self-realization, even by simple practical. And what to speak of this difficult yoga system? Now you ask them, instead of coming to A509, you go to a jungle, where there is an nearby forest that near Mysore there is a place, Bandipur forest, where some animals are there, Bandipur forest. So we will go all to Bandipur forest. There we will do meditation. So no one will come there. Even if someone wants to come, wives will hold us, or children will hold us, or parents will say, "You are mad or what? You are good doing this chanting, fine. Bhagavad Gita, we never told you no. But now what are you doing? No need to go there." Right? So Arjuna knew what is going to happen, which regulates the mode of living, the now manner of sitting. So we know how difficult it is not to sit. If we ask, sit straight the way it is described in Bhagavad Gita, it is difficult, not easy, right? To sit straight. Selection of place, proper place. Krishna described, not too high, not too low. You have to cover it with kusha grass and then deer skin and then a soft cloth, right? All those things. Now, if you will like to cover with deer skin, government will come behind you. They'll say, "What are you doing? We will give you a better place. You come in our jail," right? So very difficult. So, as a practical man, Arjun thought it was impossible to follow this system of yoga, even though he was favorably endowed in many ways, right? Arjuna had undoubtedly, right? Arjuna had many qualities which we cannot even think of, right? So he was endowed with all the qualities. He could do easily, could have done easily, right? But he thought, no, for general mass it is impractical. This Bhagavad Gita, what you are speaking, is not just for me, Krishna, for everyone. And now you see, Arjun will glorify the mind. So, okay, Dr. Mamta, you will read these words.
चञ्चलं हि मना कृष्ण प्रमादी बलवदृढं तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोरिव सुदुष्करम्. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Bhagavad Gita 6.34.
Thank you. So, this is a glorification of mind. Krishna, Arjun gives 4 adjectives to mind. Restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Chanchal. Whose name is Chanchal?
Lakshmi.
Lakshmi ji, right? Chanchal Pati is our
Shri Krishna, right?
Right. So, and generally in our experience, who are Chanchal? Kids are Chanchal, right?
Yeah.
Until unless you give them an engagement, they will keep jumping here and there. So you have to keep them busy with some engagement. So they are Chanchal. Our mind, until unless you engage your mind will be busy jumping up and down. In a second, it can go to US, to Ukraine and Russia nowadays very frequently, right? So, and you know how many thoughts a mind comes to mind in one day? There is some research.
10 million?
10 million is, I think, so higher number. Little less, I think. So 50,000 something, I think so. Thoughts come in a day. And most of these thoughts, when does the thought come? Most of these, when will they come?
Idle.
When you are chanting. That is where all these thoughts will come. Because that is the time where mind will be very restless. You are trying to control and it will like to jump everywhere. So that is why Amoglila Prabhu that day, he gave us so many techniques, right? How you should chant. That was very helpful. I was talking to Ashish Prabhu yesterday. He told that he's already applying some of them, right? And yeah, they're very good. Mind is restless, turbulent. Turbulent means
Not smooth. I think it fluctuates. a lot.
fluctuates here and there. We know when there is turbulence in flight, what happens, right? And when there is turbulence in air pressure, then all these hurricanes and all happen, right? It is compared to what? Mind, wind. And wind, Krishna already talked about wind in this chapter only. That your mind should be as if it is a lamp in a windless place, right? Sthira. Here Krishna, Arjuna is saying it is turbulent, Baba. No, sthira, asthira. Pramadi. Now, obstinate. Obstinate means in Hindi we call stubborn, jiddi, stubborn, right? Obstinate. What is the difference between obstinate and determination?
I think one is arrogant or something.
Yeah. So obstinate means not arrogant, maybe
Adamant.
Yeah, adamant for something negative.
Negative. Yeah. For the negative.
You give me or I will show you, who I am. So that will be obstinate, jiddi mind. Determination is positive. Dridham. Dridham. Dridham, Krishna has used Dridham earlier also. Right? Dridvrata. You have to do bhakti with Dridha. Dridhanta. Or it will come in subsequent chapters. So you have to be determined when you are doing bhakti. But obstinacy is something which is negative. And now obstinacy is one thing, it is also very strong. Duryodhan, he knew that this is wrong, but then also he kept doing it. Right? Mistake after mistake after mistake. He was not able to control. And his association was so bad. Right? So here Arjun is saying, now you please tell me. So he has already said that this yoga system what you have described, it is not practical. Second, he's saying this mind. Mind is so restless, turbulent, obstinate, and strong. What should we do of this? Now, Krishna will reply. So, Nikita Mataji will read this.
Impractical due to fickle mind. Shri Bhagwan Vacha. Ashamshayam Mahabhau Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kanteya Vairagyena cha Grayate. So Lord Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment.
Thanks. So, Krishna acknowledged. Yes, Arjun, there is no doubt about it. Mind is very restless. Now, mind is more powerful or intelligence?
Intelligence is above mind. Intelligence is above mind.
But if mind is strong, it overrules intelligence also.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and if you saw in this chapter, you read like, I think so in previous chapter we saw that example of stable water in the lake. So water is stable, you can see the floor, and we talked about that if a mind is stable, then you can look inwards and you can realize Paramatma. See, mind is the mirror basically. Mind is the main thing controlling this mind. Krishna acknowledges. Right? Krishna is not impractical. Bhagavad Gita is not impractical. Krishna, if something is difficult, he will acknowledge. There is no doubt, Arjun. Yes, it is difficult to control, but there is a process. Now, if you see in this verse, Krishna is not talking about that. It is a general statement. He is not talking about any yoga system here. Astang yoga, Gyan yoga, Bhakti yoga. Nothing. He is generally talking about mind, because controlling the mind is important for all the yoga systems, regardless of which one you are practicing, right? So, what do? You should do abhyas, which is practice. Now, here practice also he has not described which practice you should be doing, and vairag. Vairag is detachment. A detachment from matter and attachment to
So,
soul, spirit, right? So this is what Krishna is describing. Now, let me ask this question. Harshad Prabhu, do you remember this 9 processes of devotional service? Okay, what you do now, today we will do something new. All of you share this on your chat. You send me a personal message, not to everyone. Use the chat option, okay, and write down the 9 processes of devotional service, whatever you know, and using the chat box. Send me a message. Don't send this message to everyone, just to me. Yeah. So we'll wait for 1 minute maybe. Those who know can do it in 1 minute. I'll come in 1 minute. And no cheating, huh? Also, I've received many answers. Okay, so very nice. So, see, 9 processes of devotional service is different from 9 stages of bhakti. stages and processes are different, है ना? So that many of you have got confused. Many of you got confused. So yeah, someone is writing. Yeah, so okay. So this is important. Basically, one more message: hearing, chanting, reading, remembering. Very nice. So okay. So let's see. Now these processes are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj highlights these are the processes of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaran, Pad Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhya, Atma, Nivedan. These are the examples, so who did Shravan?
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit Maharaj. An example of Kirtan?
Chanting
Haridas
Hare
Thakur.
Krishna.
Yeah, Haridas Thakur is also a good example. Who else here in this photo?
Sukadev Goswami.
Sukhdev Goswami. You're remembering Smaran. When does Smaran happens? Smaran happen
Ajamil.
Prahlad.
Prahlad.
Maharaj.
Smaran, when will Smaran happen? Smaran will only happen when you are hearing,
Regularly, continuously.
right? Not only hearing, then you
Chanting.
also have to speak. See, one thing is that you are hearing something, like for now, you all are attending the Gita sessions regularly. Hearing is good, but until and unless you start doing mananam, and speaking within yourself by revising, by reading it, right, by also speaking that out. Important thing is, that is why preaching is very important, because preaching gives you the opportunity to speak. One, you hear; second, when you speak, speaking will require maybe 10-20 times more reading, more hearing. It will not be casual hearing, it will be very attentive hearing. So that is very important. And once you do Shravan Kirtan, what will happen? Smaran. Then the Smaran will happen. Then only you will be able to remember. So from whom did Prahlad hear?
From himself, I think he keeps chanting.
No. Who was the spiritual master of Prahlad?
Narad Muni.
Narad Muni. Does anyone know name of his mother?
Kayadu.
Huh?
Kayadu.
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 Kayadu. Narad Muni took Kayadu in his shelter, right?
Yes.
And there Prahlad was taught.
Indra wants to, I think.
Indra wanted to kill.
Destroy.
Yes. Wanted to kill Kayadu. But Narad Muni said, "You are fool or what? You are going to kill a woman?" Indra said, "Baba, in her womb there is another demon, second generation demon is there." Nara said, "You know everything. The demon is there or a devotee is there. How can you predict that this is a demon? Don't kill a woman. I will take her in my shelter. Don't worry." So that is important. And then when that happens, remembering Pad Sevanam. Pad Sevanam is what?
Serving the lotus feet.
Serving the lotus feet. It is also sort of an extension of remembering, basically. Serving the lotus feet is like, focusing deeply, because earlier we used to get confused between this serving and executing orders. Both are like serving. But serving is also like when you do remembrance, then in deep meditation, when you think of Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna's Leela, uh, and from that, when you go to temple and all, So all this part is of serving, you know. So, and worshipping is when you do deity worship. You do arti, na? That is deity worship. Praying is prayers, when you recite prayers. Huh? Worshipping is when you do deity worship. Prayers, there are so many prayers of Kunti Maharini, right? Bhishma Pitama. There are different prayers, right? So you recite those prayers. Executing order, when either your spiritual master or Bhagavan himself is giving you some order, you have to execute those orders. Or develop a relationship, Sakya, like Arjuna was in relationship with Krishna. And then who surrendered fully? Who is the example?
Bali Maharaj.
Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj also is a descendant of whom?
I think Krishna.
Arey Baba, how come?
He is the demon.
No, no.
Bali Maharaj is the demon.
Who will say? Bali Maharaj is descendant of whom? I think so. We will need to start Bhagavatam soon.
Yes.
So Bali Maharaj is descendant of Prahlad Maharaj. He is he is grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. Hai
Virochana and then Bali Maharaj.
Yeah. Right. So the process of devotional service starts with hearing. Hai na? That what we all are doing. Right? Beginning of Krishna consciousness and devotional service is hearing. So why we are discussing these things? Because Krishna is telling Abhyasena tu Kaunteya. Abhyas. We also have to start these things. We are hearing. Yesterday we heard Radhesham Prabhu also. It was such a nectarian class, right? It is important that we hear senior, sincere, dedicated, elevated devotees. Then only, just by seeing them, we get purified. So that is why it is very important that we should try to, seek association of these saintly people. Very important. It, just by seeing them, you get purification. There will be a lot of transformation, right? So that is important. What is this? Food. So what is food doing here? Gita class.
Prasadam.
Prasadam.
For to
But
Krishna.
this is not prasad time. So when we feed this food to a hungry person, what happens?
Be nourished.
Nourished, right? Feel satisfied.
Exactly.
And he will feel that there is some energy also. Similarly, when we hear about Krishna, what will happen?
Our soul will be.
We become enlightened, and by default there will be detachment.
Yes.
There will be detachment also. Detachment from things which will draw our mind away from Krishna, right? So again, how much is hearing important practice? And of all the processes in devotional service, which is the most important?
Chanting.
Chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So all of you are regularly attending now morning chanting, right? That is very nice. Very nice. Prashad Prabhu is actually in Middle East nowadays. He is 2.5 hours behind us. So when we start, his midnight is going on. But he has said that when he will be back to India, he will also like to attend.
I'm coming there in 3 days.
Oh, is
20th
it?
I'm coming. Yeah. So 1st of March onwards I'll try to join.
Very
Maybe
nice.
2nd, yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you, Prashad Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you.
It is very nice. And I hope you are all attending the classes which are conducted on Sundays. So this Sunday, by Krishna's mercy and Ramraj Prabhu's mercy, we'll be getting audience of His Holiness Ved Vyas Priya Swami Maharaj. Ved Vyas Priya Swami Maharaj is basically he was born in a Gujarati family, you know. And as I often, say that Gujarati people will always go out of India. So Maharaj was also out of India, and that is how he met Srila Prabhupada and devotees. So he got association of devotees, he got association of Prabhupada, he got initiation from Prabhupada. He is a sannyasi. He is a sannyasi. Very nice, very humble gentleman. So we'll hear. And I have also got a confirmation that in coming weeks, maybe in next 2 to 3 weeks, we will have uh, opportunity to hear from His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj. Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj, he is a Russian scientist. He was the temple president when we were there in Moscow. He is very humble, and he is like, he was a scientist and he is now a spiritual scientist also. Very humble person. Very humble. Most of the time he stays in Govardhan. So, he is very close to us. So Maharaj has agreed. He is very busy otherwise. He has agreed. When he heard that these Moscow doctors are requesting, so it is like all those our friends, most of them are doctors, most of them are from Moscow. And Madhumati Mataji, actually Maharaj is her spiritual master, his initiating guru. So Mataji helped us to coordinate Maharaj. So we'll try our best to keep inviting, elevated Vaishnavas, so that it helps in our chanting, right? So that is important. So thank you, Prashad Prabhu. So what is Krishna's conclusion about this mind? Okay, so now who will read? Rajesh Prabhu?
No, it's my turn, I think. P.
Oh, you're P.
Yeah.
Oh, your name has gone up because your video and all audio is on. Okay, you
Yeah.
please read, Prashad
Yeah,
Prabhu.
okay. Yeah. Krishna's conclusion: mind control must for yoga. 636. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That's my opinion.
Hmm. Krishna is very humble. He will always say, "This is my opinion." Right? So here Krishna is clearly saying, until unless you control your mind, you cannot practice self-realization. It is impossible. Right? And if you control your mind and strive by appropriate means, then success is assured. Right? Then Prabhupada writes, Prashad Prabhu, you will read further.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Trying to practice yoga while engaging the mind in material enjoyment is like trying to ignite a fire while pouring water on it. Yoga practice.
This is
Yeah,
good example, yeah.
yeah,
What is Prabhupada saying? Trying to ignite fire by pouring water on it. Like if there is a log of wood and you want to fire it, right? You will make sure that that wood is not wet and all. But at the time, someone comes and pours water on it. Can you light that? So, trying to practice devotional service, but at the same time, not following four regulative principles, then it is like pouring water while you are trying to ignite fire, right? So that is not possible. Okay, please go ahead. Sorry to stop you.
yeah. Yoga practice without mental control is a waste of time. Such a show of yoga may be materially lucrative, but it is useless as far as spiritual realization is concerned.
So we may think, oh, I am getting this, I am attending this, I am doing that. But until unless you really follow the process, right? Now, if you don't follow the process, if you want to join this Zoom class, can you just click on any link? You have to click on a Zoom link, also Zoom link which is specifically for this class. Then only will you be able to join. So similarly, a spiritual realization does not mean that, like our Ashtanga yogis, they will do what? Asana and pranayam. They think that I am very elevated. Yeah, they may be elevated in some government political position, but otherwise they are no more than fool. Right? So that is what Krishna, Prabhupada is highlighting, what Krishna is saying. Such a show of yoga may be materially lucrative, but it is useless as far as spiritual realization is concerned. Heart purification, it needs following of the whole process. Yeah, please go ahead.
Therefore, one must control the mind by engaging it constantly in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Unless one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, he cannot steadily control the mind. A Krishna conscious person easily achieves the result of yoga practice without separate endeavor. But a yoga practitioner cannot achieve success without becoming Krishna conscious.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prashad Prabhu. So here actually, see, there are two different things. One is, uh, goal of something, right? Another is, you are just trying to find a means, for achieving that goal. So the goal is Krishna consciousness, right? And the means is devotional service. So until unless we follow the process, it will be difficult. You should know both the things. What is your goal and what is the process? That is very important. And without following the principles of Krishna consciousness, it is impossible. It will take Bahunam Janmante. And it is not even yoga. See, it is not even yoga, which is what now Arjun is going to ask thereafter from 37. So when you follow yoga, also it may take some time, because sometimes we start something. So our engine will get ignited only when we start following, rules and regulations, the process. Even after we follow the process, sometimes what happens when you go on Indian roads, what will come?
Accident.
Some speed breakers will come, some ditch will come, some petrol will come, and what will happen? Then accidents happen. So Arjun was worried, not for himself, but for all of us, because he knows. So he asked this question: what will happen to an unsuccessful yogi? Will he go to hospital? Will he go to police station? Will he go to his home with a broken leg? Where will he go? So he is asking this question. So now Rajesh Prabhu will read.
Okay. O Krishna, Arjuna's inquiry about the fate of a fallen yogi. O Krishna, what is the destination of one who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but fails to continue due to unsteady mind and thus does not attain perfection? What would be his destination? Doesn't he fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a raven cloud? I find no one but you who can dispel this doubt.
Thank you very much, Rajesh Prabhuji. So Arjun is asking a very relevant question, and did you notice one important thing here? That the person has started following, one who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realize with faith. He understands, right? But then what is the obstacle? What is holding him back?
Desires or attachment.
Unsteady mind.
Unsteady.
Here it is written, unsteady mind. This is mind game. We have to control this mind. And mind can only be controlled by mantra. Mantra. So that is why, chanting can be done in many ways. But more attentive you are in your chanting, then you will be able to control your mind. It is very important, because see, mantra is primarily to control our mind. When mind is in control, then you will be able to focus on Krishna's name. Then Krishna will go in our ears. Otherwise, Krishna is not even coming out from mouth also. Then we will say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, nothing. No, you may be thinking you are chanting 1 round, 2 round, 4 round, whatever, but only Krishna knows. Krishna must be thinking, what is he saying? I don't know. It's my name or someone else's name. Like, instead of Krishna, you should not say Kamsa. Huh? Then it will be a problem, Baba. So we have to be careful. So you have to have a clear pronunciation, right? Then attentively hear what you are chanting. Otherwise, unsteady mind, we just discussed, it will be more turbulent when you are trying to control it. Because then our Maya Devi will be taking charge, that this prisoner is trying to go out of prison house. Then how will I get my salary if all these prisoners will go out? So Durga Devi, try to control, and she is doing all this on behalf of Krishna. Why? Because she wants to make sure that we are purified before we go. So it is a tough war against Maya when you are trying to chant, and that is why the mind will be restless at that time. So you have to pronounce and attentively hear. Prabhuji, Amog Leela Prabhu, Rukmani Krishna Prabhu, Nand Prabhu, all of them, they gave many techniques for us, right? So unsteady mind is the biggest problem, right? So now what will happen? What will be his destination? Right? What will happen to that person? Doesn't he fall down from both spiritual and material success? Material success, what is material success?
Achieving all the material prosperity.
Yeah, going to heaven, for this spiritual thing. And spiritual success is going to Golok Vrindavan.
Krishna's abode. Yeah.
Doesn't he fall down from both the things? There is a saying in Hindi, na ghar ka na ghat ka. So that is very difficult. Will it not perish like a raven cloud? So if a cloud is there, big cloud, and if a small portion goes, it will just vanish, not have any potency. So then finally Arjun says, I find no one but you who can dispel this doubt. Why only Krishna? Because Krishna is Trikalagya. Krishna knows past, present and future. So only he can dispel this doubt. Arjuna is very submissive. He's asking, Krishna, please help me. Because, very difficult to control the mind, and even more difficult what you have just talked about, Ashtanga Yoga. So he was basically in anxiety. He was asking for all of us. So now, who will read now? Shanmukh Prabhu?
Yeah. One may sincerely ask Arjuna's inquiry about the fate of a fallen yogi. One may sincerely accept the path of self-realization, but the process of cultivation of knowledge and the practice of the eightfold yoga system are generally very difficult for this age. Therefore, despite constant endeavor, one may fail for many reasons. First of all, one may not be sufficiently serious about following the process. To pursue the transcendental path is more or less to declare war on the illusory energy. Consequently, whenever a person tries to escape the clutches of the illusory energy, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various allurements. A conditioned soul is already allured by the modes of material energy, and there is every chance of being allured again even while performing transcendental disciplines. This is called yoga chalita manasaha, deviation from the transcendental path. Arjuna is inquisitive to know the result of deviation from the path of self-realization.
Thank you very much. So, Prabhupada is highlighting the same thing. It's very difficult in this age to practice this Ashtanga Yoga. Right? Despite constant endeavor, one may fail. Someone may initially not be serious. Even though they are serious, then it is like war against Maya Devi, illusory energy. Right? It is at service basically. Right? So it is important that we follow this nicely. And we should be always remembering this 2.62 and 63, that contemplation. What is the most terrible virus? Never forget this. TV, newspaper, and all this gossip and all is going to kill you. It is like a slow poison. So never trust you will say, oh no, I will only see selective thing. No, only this. This will be a problem. Prashad ji is alone there in Middle East, right? Yeah, see, Prashad ji alone it is more difficult. When you are in association of devotees, at least a devotee can tell you, oh, what are you wasting your time? But when you are alone, it is more difficult. So that is why Prashad ji is now coming to India. It is a good decision because you will be in midst of devotees, and every now and then I see devotees are increasing in Kirti Garden here. So it is better if we stay in Kirti Garden here. Right? So that is important. So now, what do you think will be the outcome? What will Krishna say? What happens to an unsuccessful yogi?
I think that 2.41, it is similar to
2.40.
Yeah, if you do 40, if you do devotional service in any of the buts, it will be carried forward. Unlike the material prosperity or.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. Yes. So, sort of there is something guaranteed for all of us, fortunately. Right? Nothing will be wasted. So we should we are already given guarantee. It is not a lifetime contract. It is a contract for eternity. We are signing with Krishna. Already signed this contract with Krishna. So here Krishna will again sort of repeat that words. So now Harshad Prabhu, we'll start from you again. You will recite this. You are unmuted, but we are not able to hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Very faint, yeah.
Okay, I realized, even for the past one, I was saying something and then I wasn't heard probably.
Oh, even now the voice.
It's very faint.
Yeah, if you can speak closer to the mic.
I'm very close actually. Is it better?
Yeah, a little better.
Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Kashid Durgatim Tata Gachita Gachati.
Durgatim tat gachati. Yes. Translation.
The personality of Godhead said, Son of Prutha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil.
Durgatim tat gachati. Never they will be Durgatim. Vinashas tasya vidyate. Never will there be vinash. Nahi kalyana krit kashit. One who is engaged in auspicious devotional spiritual activities. So so this is 6.40 and earlier we had recited 40 है ना नेहा ब्रिकोनाशोस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमपयस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महत्व. Even small endeavor will help us from the most dangerous type of fear. What is the fear? Fear of going to
Janma Mrityu. Yeah,
again taking birth in Kirti Gardenia. We don't want. One life is enough, Baba, not again. So we'll try to associate with each other nicely so that we all go back to Golok Vrindavan. We don't want to. Why? See, there are already so many problems. Kirti Gardenia is a good example. One, when I came that year, there was no water here for 2-3 months. So do you want to come again? Huh? You will say, no, I will not come in Kirti Gardenia. I will go to a better, maybe I'll go in a villa or so. No. Our Prahlad Maharaj says, if you want to solve the material problems with material solution, the problem will only aggravate. So you may think I am smart, but Prahlad Maharaj is smarter. He says that will not solve the problem. So we should aim for going back to our home, where Krishna will hug us like this. Krishna is waiting for us. And this has been sort of corroborated by Srimad Bhagavatam. So Harshita Mataji will read this.
Yeah. One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything.
See, sometimes you yesterday someone went to attend Radhesham Prabhu's class. He may have forsaken some calls or some meetings. Krishna said, no problem, nothing will happen to you. Rajesh Prabhu came. I only saw him. No problem. Because even if you attend, what are you going to gain? In terms of a spiritual thing, right? We are not this body, we are soul. So I gave you an example of myself. Like when we were in Moscow, sometimes we used to think, oh, today, Sunday, I will not go to temple. I have so many work to do. And none of that work will be completed. So temple also, no temple and no work. Time will just go like here and there. So better to spend time in the spiritual things, right? We don't have to be neglectful. Okay, now Krishna starts. Okay, so there are two category of people. One who have just started Krishna consciousness, but because of something, he's not able to continue, right? Or someone who has really gone, become very sincere, very serious, very dedicated, fully focused. Somehow or the other, something happened, not able to complete the process. So there are two people: fall after short practice or fall after long practice. Okay, so now this Dr. Mamta will read this.
प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकान् उस्थित्वा शाश्वत समः शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगो भ्रष्टो अभिजायते. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Bhagavad Gita 6.41.
So now this is our choice. You have various options. You can take a 2 BHK flat, 3 BHK or 5 BHK. Which one you want? There is a choice. So here, if someone after a short practice is not able to complete the process, there is no loss. Krishna says no loss. So what will happen to him? he will go and enjoy life in Swarga. Go and enjoy life in Swarga. And then when he is born back on earth, he will take birth in the family of righteous people or in family of rich aristocracy. Hmm? Righteous people means Brahmana, right? Where there is an opportunity given. People who are in rich aristocratic, people who take birth in well-off family, they have opportunity to get engaged. They don't have to struggle for daily food, right? In Brahman family, Brahmanical culture will be there, so they are already exposed to some, religious things, spiritual things. There will be something there. So after enjoying their life on heavenly planets, Prabhupada once said, most of my disciples, they will go to Swarga. And then his disciples will, oh, why Swarga? Why Swarga also is a big thing, not a small thing. Huh? Why? Because we have to practice sincerely, seriously, with full dedication. We cannot be casual about these things, right? So, but there will be no loss, undoubtedly. And someone who has practiced for long, who's done Nikita Mataji, you will recite this.
Prabhuji, one doubt. Previously.
Okay, yeah.
So here it is said that the unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of pious living entities. So is it not delaying his spiritual journey by going there? Why Krishna decided him to go there and enjoy for some time?
See, the thing is, if you are doing something, you have to get the return also, na? This is the process. Krishna is not delaying. Krishna is giving you, okay. And actually, even in US, sometimes Indians go to US. What for they go?
Money.
Money. Money means Bhog Aishwarya Prasaktana. Right? That is money. Money, they are not going there to donate money in ISKCON, right? They are going there to Bhog Aishwarya. So, but few people who are serious and sincere, they get association of devotees and they can get, right? Now they have some credit. They who are going to US, they have done something here in India. They are educated or something. They have money. Then only they are going. So if you go to US, now you say that why have I come to US? Baba, you wanted to come there, right? And so you live here then. But even there you get options. You can further elevate. But most of them, after going there, will come back to earth. Most of them will come back to earth. Like we will see example in subsequent slide of Bharat Maharaj. Right? But primarily, it is not delaying because they have just started. But those who are very sincere and serious, for them there is other option. These people just started. They never attended morning chanting on Zoom. No. Somehow, in Jagannath Rath Yatra, they pulled Jagannath cart, they took prasadam, they got some blessings. It is known as Agyan Skruti. Agyan Skruti. Okay, you want to go to temple, I will drop you there. Their process started. But till now they have not started any session of morning chanting, right? So okay, you go enjoy some time and then you come back, right? And all this, if you see in terms of Krishna, is happening in one breathing in, one breathing out. Mahavishnu, one breathing in, out, so many things are happening. So for him, it is not much waste of time. Right? So now we will recite this. Nikita Mataji, Recite.
Yeah. Fall after long practice. अथवा योगिनाम् एव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरं लोके जन्म यदृशम्. Or if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world.
So now see, here it is not said that he will go to heavenly planets. He takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists, means in a family of a devotee. And if you read purport carefully, Prabhupada is writing something important. Prabhupada is writing about his Guru Maharaj and himself, that both of them got opportunity to take birth in the family of devotees,
Transcendentalist.
right? Because who is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Prabhupada's father, biological father? What is his name?
Bhakti Vinod.
Bhakti Vinod Prabhu, है ना? Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He is a devotee, pure devotee, right? And Prabhupada's father, anyone knows his name? Gaur Mohan De. Gaur Mohan De. He was a devotee. Since birth, his father introduced Prabhupada to playing Mridanga, deity worship, Jagannath Rath Yatra. You are seeing here. So both of them got opportunity to associate. So this is the advantage. So if we continue our chanting, if we continue to practice four regulative principles, right, to study Bhagavad Gita, to study Bhagavatam, we become sincere and serious in the process. By chance, because of any means, if there is some speed breaker, right, some accident, then rest assured that in next life we will get birth in a devotee family. And we are seeing so many devotee children, they come up like this. If you see this Anvi, daughter of Ashish Prabhu and Nikita Mataji, if you see Prahlad Dhruva, children of Madhumati Mataji, Nirmal Kish Prabhu, they have from birth they have that tendency. If you see our Hasini also, she is serious in devotional service. Sharanya, they are all, it is not by chance that they have taken birth here. So now it is then your responsibility also, my dear friends. Don't take this thing casually. So it is important. Now it is whose turn? Prashad Prabhu, it is your turn now.
Resuming the yoga, in both cases, one revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success. He automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. It's 43, 44.
2.44, 2.45. Nestre Gunya. So rise above the, these modes and these ritualistic principles mentioned in the scriptures. We have seen many children, they will play mridang as if they have been playing for years together. Our Prahlad, like that. So in both cases, one revives the divine consciousness from the previous life. Even little introduction. You see our children, these children, little spark is required and they will do so nicely. They will start preaching to their elders also. Why you are wasting your life? You be sincere, right? So he automatically becomes attracted to yogic principles even without seeking them. They have not attended Gita course. For them it was spontaneous. Right. Who are these people?
Vaishnava devotees.
Vaishnav devotees. They don't look like Indians, right? Sometimes people find them difficult to accept because they think only person who has taken birth in Bharatvarsh is eligible. But these people, they are so sincere, you know. And there is a verse in Bhagavatam, this third canto, 33rd chapter. Okay, so Rajesh Prabhu, you will read this.
O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far, far advanced in spiritual life, even if born in families of dog eaters. Such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies.
So now, if you are chanting the holy names of God, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then you read this verse carefully. That means you have done all austerities and sacrifices in previous birth, based in all the sacred places and read all the scriptures. Already you have done. Then only you have come to that level. Don't become proud. See, it is something to be proud of, but yeah, it is really good because that gives us encouragement, right? That yes, we are on the right path. And see, we should not get stuck in one or the other thing because now we have highest thing. So just, sincerely focus on chanting, you know, cultivating our devotional life. Now, attaining perfection. Okay. So Shanmukh Prabhu will read now.
And when you attaining perfection, and when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal.
Right? So if we sincerely chant, right, engage in devotional services to Krishna very sincerely, then we will attain our supreme goal. We have already been doing all these things for many, many births. And now is the time when if we get, right, Prashad Prabhu? Prashad Prabhu, this should be our final last life, no more lives. Huh? We should, become sincere. And then Prabhupada in this purport also highlights this verse. Huh? Shanmukh Prabhu, you will read this?
Yeah, persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated or freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination.
Dhanvrata. We are engaged in devotional service with determination. Who?
The
For
one who
whom?
has acted previously.
Previously and in this life piously, whose all the sinful actions have been completely eradicated. Right? So it is important that now when we have got this opportunity, this best thing, we should take it seriously and sincerely, right? So, and we will attain perfection for sure. And now the final two verses, the climax, right? For which Shanmukh Prabhu has been waiting very patiently. So now Harshad Prabhu, every time when it comes to Harshad Prabhu, one new verse is coming for this session. So Harshad Prabhu, you please recite this.
Bhakti Yogi, the topmost yogi. A yogi is greater than tapasvi, jnani, and karmi. Tapasvi bhayo adhiko yogi, jnani bhyo api matto
Adhika
adhikaha,
karmi
karmi
bhyas
karmi bhyasa chadhiko yogi. Tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna.
bhava.
A yogi is greater than the ascetic. A yogi is greater than the empiricist. A yogi is greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances be a yogi.
Now, in this verse, he has said, so yogi is better than all these three people, better than a fruitive worker, empiricist, or ascetic, right? Now, Harshad Prabhu will read this.
Yoga refers to linking our consciousness with the Supreme. When the linking process is predominantly in fruitive activities, it is called Karma Yoga. When it is predominantly empirical, it is called Jnana Yoga. And when it is predominantly in a devotional relationship with the Supreme Lord, it is called Bhakti Yoga.
Yoga means linking, right? Now, which yoga is Krishna talking about here?
Bhakti
Will
Yoga.
be will be highlighted by Krishna in the next. But for now, Krishna placed yogi to be higher than all the three. Someone who is doing tapasya without sufficient knowledge, just doing, thinking that tapasya like will help him. Empiricist is some experiential something happened, something, and then he has to started doing, right? So it is right. You are seeing which screen? You are seeing the full screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Full screen, yeah. Bhakti Yogi, topmost
Okay.
yogi I see.
Okay. So, and then who is a fruity worker? We all know. है ना? Karmi. Those who are just working with some. And yoga also it is described. Yoga, which is Nishkam Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. This all you are already expert now. Okay, so next Harsita Mataji will read this verse.
Best of all yogis, Bhakti Yogi. योगिनाम् अपि सर्वेषां मम गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां सा मे युक्तात्मो मतः. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion.
Yogi Nam. So of all the yogis, Yogi Nam api sarvesha. So of all the yogis, who is best? The characteristic are Madgate Antaratmana. Means who is always thinking of me in his heart. Madgate Antaratmana. Antaratmana. Thinking about me, not about anything else. He is Madgate. Abiding, always thinking Antaratmana. Then Shraddhavan. How? By doing some austerity, by doing some meditation, by what? Shraddhavan, with full faith. And if you remember, the 9 stages of bhakti starts with,
Shraddha.
and then Nishta is what?
Nishta is an intermediate.
We discussed, if you remember, these 3 things, right? That all these 9 stages of devotional services, they are in basically in a form that increasing faith. So this Nishtha is deep faith, and then Prem is implicit faith. Hai na? So we discussed that. So Shraddhavan, he has deep faith. And after that faith, what is he doing? Is he reading Bhagavad Gita or meditating or doing some tapasya or in water or surrounded by fire or going to Himalayas? What is he doing?
Chanting, bhajate.
Bhajate. Prabhupada has highlighted this verse, this word a lot in his purport. Bhajate means engaged in service of Krishna. And service cannot be done without love. Right? So, Shraddhavan Bhajate Yo Mam. Right? Who is engaged in Krishna conscious activities. Same Yuktatamo Mataha. In my opinion, in my mataha, he is the Yukta Tamaha. He is the highest.
Is the highest.
Right? So, and we all have seen this yoga ladder. Karmakandi are attached to scriptures. Karma yogi are scriptures plus
Detachment.
very nice, very nice. And then Gyan yogi,
Scriptures and detachment and also knowledge.
very nice, very nice. And Dhyan yogi,
Meditation.
very nice. And Bhakti yogi,
Liberation.
Loving service.
oh,
Constant loving service.
love. That love is there, huh? Shraddhavan bhajate. So bhajate means service, and service cannot be done without love. Right? That love component is so important. Okay. So with this we come to the end of today's session, and we are right on time. So now we'll open the floor for some question, comment, discussion. So, okay, I don't think you have anything. Hare Krishna.